first thing we want to do is we want to edit our spreadsheet so that it's easier for us to navigate and manipulate throughout the worksheet. Right, so first thing to do is you'll notice something here, which is there's some part of the spreadsheet is actually being frozen. Right, so actually to change that, you just go to the View tab. Usually when we open Excel, we are at the Home tab. Just go to the View tab. Right, and you'll see one of the things that you will see is there will be buttons which are activated. For example, normal is activated, split is also activated because it's slightly darker gray. So what you can do is you can just click on split, right, and then we no longer have the split, thereby making it possible for us to actually just scroll up and down like this, right? And once you are able to scroll up and down, for example, you can scroll up until you see these, for example, midterm test and etc. Because usually we still want to see this regardless of where we scroll down, right? So in order for that to stay, we can then reactivate either the split or the freeze pane. So I'm just going to click here at 24, which is right at the bottom of this headers for the table or spreadsheet, and I'm just going to freeze pane and freeze panes, right, thereby making this possible. So now I can scroll up and down and still be able to see the headers, which are usually fairly important. If you want to undo that, you can just unfreeze pane and you get your normal spreadsheet again. So next, what we're going to do is you'll notice that for each of these cells, it's actually represented by several columns, and this is actually not very desirable because it makes it hard for us to actually reference a cell. Let's say, for example, I want to do calculation on this particular cell. It will be hard because I don't know if I should refer to AJ24, AL24, or I'm not sure what this is, right? So this is generally with regards to the raw file that we download. Sometimes we get this kind of a problem. So what we're going to do now is we're going to rearrange this. It's really easy. You just press one of the cells, one of the columns, right, at the start, and then you press shift without letting go of the shift button. You press the last one. So the first one here should be U, last one should be AU. So shift AU, and we get that. And then you just bring your cursor from this plus sign, you bring it in between the letterings of one of the highlighted columns, right, so that it turns into this kind of plus sign which with arrows on either side. And then you just click and drag a little bit and you'll get this, right? As you can see here, for example, for 16.8 here, instead of the intersection of only one column and one row, here we have the intersection of several columns, U, V, W, X, Y, and it's intersected with 24. So this is not desirable because if we want to do a function or formulas based on this cell, it might confuse us whether we should refer to U24 or V24 or W24 and so on. So we're going to get rid of all of the other cells, all of the other columns which might not be relevant here. So the most relevant column will be the first one on the leftmost, right? So this is the relevant one. So we're going to get rid of V until Y here. So just highlight like that. Again, using click, shift, click, right? And then right click and delete. So the 16.8 will remain because that's usually when we do things in Excel, generally we start from the leftmost column, right? So I'm going to do the same for the rest here. So here. Now we have a slightly more desirable setting for columns, right? Meaning one column for one cell. So each cell is an intersection of only one column and one row. Now next is doing calculations. Let's say, for example, I want to do calculations with these numbers. Let's say I want to count the average of Z24 until Z30, for example, right? So I want to do that calculation, and it's the average equals average, right? And then open bracket, and then I just choose the respective cells, Z24 to Z30, for example, and then I close bracket and enter. I won't be able to do that calculation because apparently these are non-numbers for some reason or another, right? So we're just going to use the navigation. I click on 16.8 here, shift and control and then bottom arrow, effectively getting me all the way to the bottom of the mark sheet, and then shift and then right arrow. Right, without letting go of the shift button, you just press right arrow, and then you select until the part that you want. You can go back up and you will see at the borders of this selection, it can be on the left border or right border, you will see this exclamation mark. You can just bring your cursor on top of that and click, and you will see several options like this. You just want to convert it to number. As you can see here, I have a formula at Z19, which is an average of Z24 till Z30. Now it's non-number, so I have this division thing. I'm going to convert to number, and you'll see that slowly I get that average being computed. Then we can use these cells and put calculations or formulas inside. Right? So they can now be used for calculations. So that is with regards to a little bit of formatting, a little bit of editing of your spreadsheet for easy navigation and manipulation of your spreadsheet.